Hi, my name is Taya Major. I will be observing Kiara Eckert in a elementary special ed classroom. The teacher will be teaching lessons on science and the five senses, having games to identify body parts, as well as science centers and math centers. The instructional strategies that will be used, she'll be using visuals, manipulatives, interactive whiteboard, kinesthetics, and hands-on activities. She will differentiate instruction by utilizing different methods of establishing or identifying the body parts through manipulatives, through written work, also through verbal responses and questioning. And the teacher will assess student engagement by participation, by verbal responses, by answering questions, as well as by participating in an identifying game where students will be identifying body parts.
Think and make decisions. Did you know that? All kinds of decisions, you're right, George. All right, whose turn is it now? Jacob went, Thomas went, George went. Whose turn is it? Me. All right, draw a card, Rodrigo. A two. Let's see if you can find that.
Lucky two. It's a lucky two.
Okay, everybody together. What is it?
Lucky two.
Oh, I think we can do better than that. Let's try it one more time. Eyes on me. Right here. Good. What is it? A tooth. And where would we find a tooth, Rodrigo?
It's there.
Well, it was in Net's head, but where on you? Where's your tooth? Or your teeth? Right there. You're missing a few, right? What do we use our teeth for? Do you remember?
Yeah.
What? Chewing food. You're right. We use it for chewing food. All right. Whose turn is it? It's here we go. You ready, Thomas? Can you reach in this time? Can you reach in there? Let's see. What did you get, Thomas? What is that? Can you tell me? Here. Oh. So close. Yeah. It's your eye, Thomas. And what do we use our eye for? That's our vocabulary word.
Like, oh,
Thomas, what do we use our eyes for? To look at things. Look at me. Look at me. Look at George. Look at the window.
No, that's not one. That was not one.
Look at the teacher. Oh, good eye contact, Thomas. Good looking. All right, George, your turn.
Good. Look at him looking. Ooh, no peeking.
Are you peeking?
No peeking.
Try again.
No peeking.
Did you find something? Hang on. I think George, you have to play with your hands. What did you get, George? A tongue. Where's your tongue at?
It's right there.
And what do we use? Do you remember what we use our tongue for? Oh, you can use it for licking? Yeah. What else did we use it for? What about tasting? It helps us taste our food. We'll learn more about that next week. Good job. Everybody together, what is this? A good. and go through his nose. Ew. Ew. Can you find it? All right. Pull it out.
Look at that eye. Do, do, do.
You found a head. Everybody show me. Where's your head? Touch your head. Good. Good. All right. Everybody together. What is it? It's a head. Very good. All right. You guys have that down pretty good. So now what we're going to do, my hands are in the air. My eyes are on the teacher. And I'm ready to learn. Okay. Now that we're ready to learn and my eyes are on the teacher, we are going to do a song. What song do you think we might be doing? What song do you think we're doing? The Hokey Pokey song. And while we're doing the Hokey Pokey, I'm going to be watching to see if you know the right body part. If you don't know which body part to use, you can look at your friends, okay? And they can help you out. Everybody ready? Stand up. George, can you back up a little bit so our friends can see better good on you? Thank you. Everybody, if you're ready, give me a thumbs up. So I know you're ready. All right.
I'm ready.
Thomas, you ready? All right, here we go. I'm watching. See you guys get back. Right foot.
This is so funny.
Nice job.
That's so That was so funny. That's so funny.
That was so funny. Okay, quick drill. You ready? Touch your head. Touch your nose. Touch your elbow. Touch your ear. Touch your mouth. Touch your belly. Touch your knees. Wow, y'all are getting it. Touch your feet. Let's put it this way. I can touch over. Touch your back. Good. Last one. Let me give you what we haven't talked about today. Touch your shoulder. Touch your shoulder. Now just turn down. Try again. Right there. Shoulder. Shoulder. That's your shoulder. Good job, you guys. Can you give yourself a round of applause? Ready? Nice job. In your seat.
Get low.
All right, that was nice working this morning. So what did we learn about? What did we learn about this morning? Uh-huh. What are all those? All our body parts. That's right. I need to know those next week, and you should know really well next week for when we do our 5 senses. What is next on our schedule? All right, what is next? Go check this out. All right, guys, we have finished our pledges. What is next on our schedule?
Sign in.
It is time to sign in. And today is Wednesday, so we're going to sign in on the board. Now remember, when I'm writing my name, it should, my capital letter, my first letter, is going to go from the top line to the bottom line. And then my next letter is going to sit, it's going to touch this bottom line. Should it be way up here? George. Should my letters be floating in the air or sitting on the line? It should be touching the line. All of my letters should be touching the bottom line. Okay, who's first? All right, what color would you like, George? Now your first letter is a capital letter, so it's going to go from the top line to the bottom. Excellent.
No, that's not right. Nope, that's wrong.
So what can we do if we make a mistake? George, give me 5. All right, let's give George a looking good. Look how his letters are sitting on the line this morning. You ready? Here we go, George.
J.
O R G E M A R O N. George. All right, who's up next? Can you make your name sit on that line? Let's see.
Yeah.
All right.
I sit to the line.
Starting off good. That is a nice looking R. Remember, wait just a second. Remember, our G has a tail and it's going to go below the line. Big space, big space. Nice job! You stayed on the line. I love it. That was awesome. It gets better every day. All right, let's see who's up next. Thomas, come here. Yeah, that's you. Come here. That was before his haircut, huh?
That was ugly.
Oh, you need your shoes. You're right. Get your shoes. And we're standing up.
Come here. It's your turn. You ready? Here we go. Thomas. T-H. O-N. That's you, yay!
Good job. I see.
Yeah, all right, who's up next?
Who's up next?
You think it might be Jacob? How did you know? How did you know that?
It's right there.
Because everyone else is already gone, right? That's you, come here. Your turn. All right, here we go. J-O-C-O-B. Where's your name? There it is, circle it. Nice job. That's right. Give me 5. Look at you. Good job. You're absolutely right. That's your name. You guys did awesome on writing your name this morning. That might be the best yet. So, what can I put here? Finished. All right, what's up next? Gemini. And who can tell me, what have we been learning this week in Gemini?
What
Think louder. I think I heard somebody. Make sure you raise your hand so I know to call on you. Yes, George? What have we been learning?
Body part.
We've been working on body parts and identifying our body parts, and we're going to keep doing that. So we're going to do Gemini. Then we're going to review our body parts and what they do. And then we're going to play Ned's Head with body parts, and we're going to do a little dance. And then we'll check our schedule. You're right, George, we're going to do the hokey pokey. All right. I want to hear everybody, and I want to see you pointing to the correct part as we go along. Oh. We are going upside down. Princess?
Back.
That's your friend.
Back. Touch my back.
Rhea. Is Rhea a body part or a bird?
Bird.
It's a bird.
Rhea.
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 Belly button.
Belly button. Where's our belly button? Belly button.
Button.
Is it on our nose?
Hey, right there.
It's on our belly. Yeah. George, where's yours? There it is. Thomas. Belly button.
Belly.
Right there. There it is. Belly button. Toucan. Yeah, I like toucan. Toucan. You say it. Toucan. Sheep. Look. Sheep. Where's your cheek at? Touch it. There it is. Good job. Chin. Show me. Chin. Pigeon. That's a bird. It's our ear. Show me. Ear. Good.
Ear.
Thomas, show me. Ear.
Where's your ear?
Ear.
Ear. Right here.
Where's your elbow?
Where's your elbow, Rodrigo?
Vulture. Is that a body part?
Vulture.
It's a bird.
Vulture.
Vulture. Eyes.
Show me. That's your nose.
Where's your eye, Rodrigo? Where's your eye, George? Eye.
Weka. George, can you show me? There it
Point to your
is.
nose.
Nose. Mouth. You're close. Try
Bow.
That's your mouth.
Mouth. Point to mouth. Where's your mouth? Mouth. There it is. Good job. Good job, you guys. Give yourself a pat on the back. That was a nice job this morning. Gemini words. Now we had, our Gemini this morning had body parts, but then it had vulture, toucan. What were all of those? Penguins? Were those body parts? Or were they something else? What is a penguin, a vulture, and a toucan? They're all types of bird. You're right. Those are all types of birds. So now we're going to talk about some of the body parts because starting next week, we're going to be learning about our 5 senses. So you need to know what body part we're talking about when we're using our senses. So the first one, well, that's a good one, Thomas, is a tongue. Show me your tongue. There it is. Let me see, George. Oh, good, Thomas. That's right. That's your tongue. And what do you think our tongue helps us with? George? We use our tongue when we are... Don't bite it. It might hurt. Do you know when we use our tongue? What it helps us for? What? Did you know it helps us taste our food? We're going to be learning about taste next week, and our tongue helps us taste our food. What about these, Thomas? What body part is this? Do you know? Try one more time. What body? What body part? You're right. It's your eye. Show me your eye. Show me right here. Eye. Eye. And what do you think we use our eyes for? For looking at things, right? Yeah, to look at our environment. Things. I like that answer, Rodrigo. All right.
After my observation in Miss Kara's room, I observed her working on a science unit with her students. They were working on the body parts. She had a schedule that they checked off and went step by step of what they were going to cover for the day. They started with a communication unit called Gemini to identify the body parts and to verbalize the body parts. After Gemini, they then went into a game called Ned's Head where they pulled out different body parts using visuals as well as manipulatives, and they would identify them and also locate them on their bodies. They also played the hokey pokey to identify and ensure understanding, and that learning was effective. They also reviewed at the end to discuss what they would talk about next week and what the body parts are used for, and went over their schedules and checked their schedules after. Some of the instructional strategies that she used redirection to refocus them if they were off task. She used visuals, auditory, kinesthetics, texture items like Velcro so they can feel the difference between rough and smooth. When it came to hands, what are our hands for? She used token economy to reward students with effective praise while they're engaged in the lesson. She also had a variety of ways of teaching a lesson. When they were writing their names, you had a few students that were able to write their first and last name just by seeing a model and then following the model. You had other students who needed more support, that their name was printed larger as well as their picture attached so they can identify who they are, and they trace their name hand over hand. You had another student who had three choices, three different names to choose from, with his name in large print, and the choices, of course, included one choice was his name, and he identified his name by matching and circling his name. So she differentiated several different tasks within the lesson. One being the names, the different levels of students that she had. She differentiated how they would identify themselves, how they would write their names, and how they would select their names from the attendance board. She also differentiated the instruction when it came to the body parts. You had students who were verbally able to pronounce the body parts. You had students that utilizes iPad Words for Life to identify the body parts through augmentative devices. And you had students who would just point to those body parts as she labeled them or as she voiced them. So she differentiated throughout the lesson, and she utilizes different strategies, different methods, different material that would help all students in all learning modalities, from auditory, kinesthetic, texture, visual, and auditory. She definitely continued to have students engaged, and when they were off task in any way, she would either gesture to redirect, ask a question to redirect, or if need be, she would tap or refocus the student. Students were definitely engaged. They were focused on her. When they weren't, she would say things like, "Eyes on me," or she would also do a clapping to get their attention. So she definitely had student engagement throughout the lessons. All students were engaged and participating, whether that was verbally through iPad communication or through pointing or other means of communication. I believe that that lesson went very well. She covered with her students, she beforehand explained to them what they were going to be talking about today, what they were going to be going through as far as Gemini, playing the game, as well as the dancing. She had a written out schedule on the board that they checked off when they accomplished or successfully completed a task. The students were all engaged, and they were focused and identifying and clearly understanding what the lesson was about. When in doubt or when the students seemed to not understand, she would provide a hint or start the word so the student can finish it. She would have students point to those body parts so they can identify them or use iPad. So those things went very well. She definitely kept all students engaged. The only thing that I saw that I would consider changing is when a student couldn't give me the answer with a question. Instead of giving that hint, I would provide choices, like 3 choices to choose from, a field of 3, or if the student's not ready for a field of 3, a field of 2. So what color is the sky? And they're stuck and not answering, I would then give choices like, is it blue or is it black? And have students kind of do a multiple choice answering in those questionings. She really asked a lot of questions, which was really good for rigor. She ensured that the students were grasping what was being taught. She asked questions to engage all the students. When a student did get up out of the seat, she gestured for him to come back. The student came back to the seat, and she immediately got him involved and engaged into the lesson hand over hand or close proximity to avoid him getting up again. She was very self-encouraging or encouraging to the students. She was given token economy effective praise. They were earning tokens for participation. She also had a few students that needed more support and more redirection. So those students were able to hold objects in their hands, like a flashlight or a rubber toy, to keep their engagement, to keep their focus, and to keep them in their seats. Really thought her mentioning what they were going to talk about today, as well as pulling into next week's lesson, that they will continue to progress through the body parts and the five senses, was very well reviewed and covered in the classroom. She explained or asked questions of what is this body part for, what do we use it for, and when they didn't know, she would, tell them, they would practice it. So definitely utilized a lot of strategies to ensure that students were grasping the concepts. She kept them engaged. She moved through the lessons at a great pace for the age level of students and the focus of the students. She covered, the communication aspect, and then they went into the game, and then they went into the dancing. She provided so many different learning modalities for the students to grasp the areas that were being taught. Her paraprofessionals were also very supportive in helping students and assisting students where they needed to be supported, and sitting next to them, close proximity, working with them hand over hand to ensure that the students were focused and a part of the lesson. I'm not sure if there was any surprising information revealed through this experience. I think she did an incredible job, and I've seen much of what she's done before, and so wasn't a surprise of any sort. I think seeing her involve those students, we work at a behavior campus, and so a lot of our students struggle with sitting in a chair, and this was a 35-minute lesson, and these students were engaged, and they were focused, and they were having a great time. They were involved. It was just really nice to see our students succeed and be successful. There are times on the camera where I'm smiling, just kind of watching and marveling in what they're doing. Just some of them come from they've come from a long way. They've struggled through some things, and just to see them accomplish and be successful in some areas is really touching to see. So I think she did great. I don't think there were areas that I was surprised with at all. She ran through that, and those students were successful. They were enjoying it, and what more can you ask for? Students were involved, students were engaged. It was a lesson that they enjoyed, and they felt good about who they were. And I saw that just by observation of their faces and their reactions to the lesson. This experience transforming my practice as a school administrator, honestly, what I saw, she can definitely be a model to emulate in the school setting. I think teachers could observe her room and see how she differentiated instructions, how she involved all students at all levels, how she provided different means of communication for students that needed that support, how she provided objects for students that needed to be refocused and redirected, how she gave effective praise, how she provided every student an opportunity to contribute to the learning environment. It was a great observation, and I think seeing more like that and going through this process would definitely help me to realize what I should be seeing when I'm doing observations as a school administrator.